Hello. Hello. We are back again. Hope my sound is working now. If you can hear me now, please tell me. Sorry for the late and sorry for everything. So I think now everything is okay. So let's start our study jam 2. Again, I will introduce myself to you. My name is Muhammad Riyad, and I am a front-end developer engineer from Egypt. Has been working in front-end development for like 4 years. Today we are going to talk about unit testing and why we need to use unit testing in our work. Unit testing are important for like mainly 8 reasons. These 8 reasons will help you to understand why we are going to use the unit testing. So unit testing, for the first thing, is for control the quality of the code we are writing. And what does this mean? This means before you write your code, you want to test this code if the code is working right or not. You have implemented the right code or the right scripts for your project. So this will be the main thing for you to take in mind when you type your first script or you type your first unit test. The second thing is, as I am working for quality of code, I want to know what is bugs. We work with code, so we have bugs. So unit testing help us to find bugs more early and can solve these bugs as fast as we can. So this is helpful for all of us to work with bugs. So like this, we are not going to do the testing again after the project is finished. So we do the test before we start coding. Like this, we have the test, code, bug, test. Everything is working now, so we don't have to waste more times in our work to find bugs or to find any solutions. Number 3, why we need unit testing: to facilitate simplified of integration between softwares. We are working with another software we don't know how to implement, so we are using the unit test. This will help us to test our code for implementation with another software. Like this, we can integrate easily and find the software bugs and code more easily to do. Number 4, unit testing will help you when you design your software better to choose the right elements for your design, like Dropbox, slides, or buttons, or checkboxes. So like this, you will have a full control of your design according to your test. So unit test will help you to make your design in the right concept. Like this, you will going to do the best thing for your design. The last thing is the unit test will help you to reduce the cost. What do you mean with reducing the cost? Reduce cost will help you to we don't need software testers to work with us anymore. As long as I write unit testing, no need for software testers. Like this, you debug and write at the same time. So software testers are gone now. No need for them. Okay, so for the unit testing, what should we know? Just we need to know Jasmine for unit testing. Jasmine is the most famous unit testing unit we have now in the web. It helps you to create unit testing. Okay, how can we install Jasmine? As you have seen in the videos, Jasmine is just easy to install. We just need to run npm install Jasmine, and it will be on our machine. Then we do our test. In Jasmine, we have a folder called spec. This is spec folder where we use it to run our test units. This will help us to modify our code faster. Okay, so for the final project for this unit, what tests do we need to do and what tests do we need to pass to make sure we do everything good? Okay, for the project 5, we have like 7 tests. We need to pass them to make sure that everything is going well. The first test is talking about we need to make sure that the all feeds variable has been defined and it's not empty. So this is easy. We have the all feeds. We need to make an expectation. So we expect the all feeds to be defined, and we're also going to expect all feeds dot length not to be zero. Why? As long as it's defined, it should have an array of content inside it, so the array should not be zero. If the array is less zero, that means that the content is not defined and it's not working fine for this content. So the second test we have is called URL not empty. What does it mean with the URL not empty? Here we saw that we write a test that loops through each feed, and all feeds object and ensure that the URL is defined and the URL is not empty. So we have to do 3 tests this time to make sure that all feeds are not empty. The first thing, we need to make sure that all feeds that URL are defined. The second one is all feeds that length are bigger than 0 or not equal to 0. That means we have URLs and URL in all feeds. Number 3, we need to make sure that the all feeds URL contains HTML or HTTP, so our test could be passed very easily, and just like this, we are not passing any other value than the HTTP. So we need for the first one, the feed URL, we need to expect it to be defined. For the second one, we expect the feed URL.length to not to be 0. This means we have initialized the all feeds and it already has content inside it. So for the third test, we need the feed name to be defined. Write a feed test that loops through each feed and all feed object and ensure that it has name defined. So we are going to use all feeds, and we are going to loop through all these feeds as long as I want to make sure everyone in this array or in this loop has been defined. So I'm going to use 2 things. The first one is the for each or the for statement that we know. Any one of them will be okay with you in your test, so make the one you are okay with, choose it and use it. So I will go with the for each as it's the more easiest thing we are going to use. So I will use for each all feeds dot for each feed. I want to make that each feed dot name to be defined and dot feed dot name dot length not to be equal to 0. So this means it's already defined and it has name inside it, and the name is long and not equal to zero. So like this three tests, we make sure that we have the test, we have the content inside all feeds, and the all feed name has been defined, and everything will be going to run okay with us. So for the third test, our is about to write a test that ensures the menu element is hidden by default, and then we would like to perform. Okay, how this menu is working with the hide and show test. The first thing we need to do a document selector for the menu element to know if it exists or not exist, and to make sure it's hidden or not hidden. So first we need to know where the menu hidden class is in our work. The menu hidden is shown in the body tag in our HTML page. So we need to make sure this menu hidden is present now in our page and it's already working. So the first thing will be to check if the body is containing the menu hidden class. And for this class, we are going to use the has class or class name. So this will be body has class name أو body class name to contain يعني يحتوي to contain the menu hidden class. Now for the menu click, we have two options we can use. We can use the trigger spy for the click button, or we can use the click function directly for this test. So I will go with the click. It's more easier to implement and more easy to debug. So I need to check which option or which element we need to click on. So if you open your CSS file and HTML, you will find an object named menu icon link, which which is represented by the hamburger menu. So this is the thing we want to click on to open the menu or to close it. So we need to use this menu icon click. We are going to use the dot click function. So dot click will help us to do this test and to pass this test very fast. For now, I'm going to share with you my screen. This will help you also to understand what I'm going to talk about. Like this, you can see what I am talking or what I'm explaining. This is much easier for both of us. So now I am going to share with you my screen like this. Now you can see here for the menu option, I have defined a variable for the menu icon, which is looking for the menu icon click link. And here for the menu icon, I use the click function. The click function is already defined by using jQuery, as it's an already working Jasmine work with jQuery just fine. So I expect the body which has class name not to contain the menu hidden. So when I click, I suppose that the menu, the body should not have this menu hidden button class on it. That means the menu hidden is now shown on the page. So if I click this menu again, expect the body class name to contain the menu header. This means the menu hidden has been disappeared from the page and now is back to being not working. So this is how we are going to use this for our test. Just simple. We go with the document selection and then pass it with the click trigger, and then we expect by it not to contain the menu hidden or to contain the menu hidden. This is what we need to do with the menu for this test. It's very easy and very simple to use. And so like this, you can use it for everything. So I will going to explain it again one time. So if you didn't hear me, you can do it again. Here I have defined the body, which is the document.body. I need the body of the document and the menu icon, which I link on like this, the body and the menu icon. The menu icon is the menu icon link, which is here. So I expect the menu is hidden by default. So expect body to have the class name to contain the menu hidden. Like this, we have the body of the document already with the class name menu hidden. Like this again, the menu hidden is already hidden by default, so we have it hidden. So again, if we clicked the menu, we need to make sure that the menu is hidden or shown by the button trigger. So I am going to work with the menu icon, which is this variable which I have defined before, and I'm going to use those did click function. And in this test, I will expect the body with class name not to contain the menu hidden, and the body with class name to contain the menu hidden. Like this, it's very easy and very simple. As you can see, you do your test very easy, and when you run your test, you'll find it's working like a charm and it's solid and can't be crushed. For this test, you has two options: to use class name or to check if it has a class name. It's up to you. We have more than one type of test to be run. Choose the best one that suits you, and this will be okay. Okay, for now, for the last test, which is using the async call. Okay, async calls, when you define it, it means is that we need to make things run in a sequence. The first, then the second, then the third. Like this, we are going to use the before each function with the done. Done here helps us, or it's modify the before each to know that this action has been finished and I am going to the next action. Like this, we are going to use the first one is done, the second one is done, the third one is done. So all actions are going now and the page is working. So the first thing we're going to use to pass the done as an argument to the before each function. And then initially, we need to initial entries. So the load feed should be 0 as it's the first action. Soon we are going to test if our page has a single entry within dot feed after load feed is called. So we are going to use the done function, which will do like this. So the number of entries, it's all which comes from the entry class name, which has dot length. So each entry in our page has length. So for me, I have done it like this: document.query selector.feed. I had selected all feed, then class name by entry, then dot length. So I expect all these number entries here to be greater than 0. What means with greater than 0? Greater than 0, that means I have already more than one element or more than one entry in the dot feed. in the feed. So like this, I use the done here as a callback for the before each to know that this feed has been done and there is nothing more to do about it. So again, let's do it one more time. Here, before entries, initial entries, he asked for to write a test that ensures that the load feed function is called and complete its work. There is at least a single entry in element within the feed container. Remember, the feed is asynchronous, so the test will require to use adjustments before each asynchronous done function. So again, as you can see, it's asynchronous. That means we need to use before each, and we are passing the done function to it as an argument. So when the load feed starts with 0, this means the load feed has been started, and I am passing done. This means the load feed has finished working, and now I'm going to test this feed after the done has finished. So I will going to test the number of entries by using the document.query selector.feed and get beside it the entry length. Like this, I have got everything and I am passing also the done as an argument to it. So after the finish one is done and the second one is done, I expect that my test here has finished and everything now is in page and everything is working fine. So this is it for this feed. Okay, so like this we check for the asynchronous call before each is more than important for the call. Remember to use done as its modify or its inform the before each done that your action has already been called. Now for our last test here, we need to make sure that our feed is loaded by the load feed function and the content actually changes. So again, we have the load feed function, which is asynchronous function also, and we need to make sure that the feed has been shown on the page when I change my feed. So like this, here you can see before each I pass the done as an argument to it. This done argument, as I said before, is used to inform the before each that this action has been done and has been finished. So it will be know that, then it will turn into the second action to know if it had finished, then it will be back again to the main action. So I use the 0 and 1 for asynchronous action one after another. So for the test 0, I will check if the initial feed selection, which is inside the inner HTML of the page. This means I have got all the inner HTML of the page to be with me. This means the page content has been changed and everything is going done. So I'm going to load feed 1 was done again. So here in the load feed 0, I don't use done or didn't implement done, as you can see, but I implemented in the load feed 1. Why is this? Again, it's an async call. For this async call, you need this done to load after the all feeds has been shown on the page. You already have them on the page, so everything is going to be working with you now, and the page HTML or the inner HTML has been changed successfully. So like this, you can see every test is working fine. Now you can see also if the content has been changed here by using the done function. So I will using the done again here as an argument for the function, and I have been a new feed selection, which also running for or looking for the dot feed inner HTML here, as you can see. So this means I have changed the new feed from the DOM elements or from the DOM source or from the feed, all feed source. So the feeds has been changed from Udacity to HTML, CSS to tricks like this. Now I expect the initial feeds here, the one we started, not to be equal like the new feed we have been checking for, and done. Done will also be back again to the before each function, which result that all feeds has been running successfully and there is nothing more test to do. So these are here the main tests you need for your last project. They are too simple and too easy. You need to make the asynchronous call for your test. Make sure you are passing the done function as an argument into it. Make sure you are doing your documentation and your query selecting very fine. Remember, everything is very small, everything is simple. You just need to make it work. Okay, so now I am back again with you. As you can see, this is how the test should be run and how solid your test should be. You need to know where you are looking for. Uh, I will provide you in Slack with some resources that might help you with your work, especially for the asynchronous call and for the trigger button. Like this, you can run your test more easily. Here I will show you my screen where I do all tests and make sure that every test is running successfully. So here you can see that this is my unit testing exam. Here you can see that at the bottom of it is Jasmine has 8 specs and 0, one of them is failure, and all exams are passing successfully. Everything works, and here when I trigger the menu option and back, also the test passes. So I want to raise my expectation with Jasmine to make sure that every test is running fine. So I will raise expectation. Here it will force tests to be rerun again in a deeper way and more specific way. Here again, everything is solid, everything is good, and you are doing fine. So you have passed your test exam with Jasmine. Like it, it's very easy and very simple. Just enjoy your work with Jasmine. Jasmine has been now recommended for our market as Jasmine became demanded in the web development now. Make sure you understand it very well. And now I am open for your questions. It will be over chat here or over Slack. I am with you. Till you ask your questions here on Slack. I hope you could understand me very well, and I hope that I was able to help you to pass your exam with Jasmine. For any information, I am sorry again, sorry for the late for the live view. I had just some troubles with my laptop for the mic and the sound. Now everything is okay. Again, my apologies for you. Thank you, Davis. Hope it was fine with you. Uh, I tried to do all my best with you. Thank you, Alice. Hope you got all the information you need for this project and hope that I could help you. Okay, Nick, thank you too. I hope that I give you the information you need for this test. I don't know what I'm going to say more. So I will keep talking for like another 10 minutes. If anyone have any other question, I will be here answering your questions. Let me open a discussion with you. What would the biggest fears for you before using Jasmine? Why do you think Jasmine is important? This was my first question I asked myself. Why you are going to use Jasmine in our course? Why? Jasmine, as I said, it's important for four things. For reducing cost, as it don't need you to have unit testers in your developer testers, sorry, in your company. It will cost you debugs as you do test for your code. So when you fail, you found your bug so faster than usual. So this will help you to increase your time of production. Again, it will help you to do your code and your design in a specific way according to your design. It will help you to choose the right choice of buttons, drop downs, checklist, action buttons, anything you need to make your test pass. This is why we need Jasmine in our test. Again, I am open for your questions. As I have finished everything for now. If you need any more information, you can just ask. If you need any information about Jasmine or anything, I will be open with you, trying to help you and to answer all your questions. So, now again, I will share my screen with you. So this would help you again to understand everything I am talking about. Here, as you can see in our test, here as you can see, our tests are running fine and with no problems with it. Uh, we need to loop through each specs in our spec folder to make sure that everything is running okay and everything is going fine. Make sure to write a solid make sure to write a solid specs for your test cases and make sure everything is running fine and you are going to do a great job. Here, remember that Jasmine accepts jQuery and JavaScript, so make sure you select any one of them you need for your project. Again, I will loop over all my tests again to explain them for another time. So if anyone has just joined us, okay, so remember that to run Jasmine, you have to put all your specs in this file, which is called the feedreader.js, which is located in the specs folder. This folder is the place where all your tests should take place. Now we have like 7 tests we need to make sure that we are going to use them for our project. We are going to loop through again each one of them to make sure everybody understand it for the last time. So now here we need, for the first one, we need to make sure that the all feeds variable has been defined and it's not empty. Experiment with before you get started on the rest of the project. What happens when you change all feed in app.js to be an empty array and refresh the page? Okay, so here we need to make sure that everything is defined. All the RS feed are defined. So we expect the all feeds to be defined. It's very simple. We need to make sure it's defined. So we are going to use to be defined as our test case for this one. And we need to make sure that all feeds.length not to be 0. This means we have more than one feed in this array, so the array.length should be greater than 0. So this is for the first test case for this exam. I hope this can help you to pass your first test. For the second one, we are going to write a test that loops through each feed to make sure that every URL is defined and not empty. So we have, for the first one, we have make sure that they are not empty. Now we are going to make sure they are defined and have names inside it. So we are going to deal again with the all feed variable array using for each, or use any for loop function you are familiar with to work with. So all feeds for each feed, you can expect the feed which the return from the for each to be a URL and to be defined, and the URL.length, and this means the URL contains text inside it, not empty, with the variable of 0, and the feed URL to match the HTTP or HTTPS, and this means that it already contains a URL inside it, not an empty page or any text else. So we need to make sure it's already opening a web page, not anything else. So this is our first test for this case. We need to make the all feeds are defined and the URL is not empty and contains text inside it. So for the second test case, we are going to make sure that the feed name is defined. What does this mean by the feed name is defined? We need to loop for each feed in our page and make sure it has a unique name for it. And we use the return back from the array loop back for each to be defined here means it has been defined in the page and the name.length and the letters of the name are longer than 0. That means it has bigger than or larger than one letter in it, so it should have or contain name inside it. So this is for our first test for our feed test readers now. So for the feed for the menu part of this test, we need to make sure that the menu is working fine. And when we make sure that the menu is hidden and the menu is shown, we need to do the first thing to make sure that the menu is hidden by default. For this test, we are going to make use the variable document.body, and the menu hidden is a part of the body tag class name. So I expect the body class name to contain the menu hidden. You can use to contain, or you can use class name, or you can use has class name and you pass it directly menu hidden, or you can check it to be true or to be false. Make sure you make all your test as the way you like it and make sure it's a solid test. Don't fall if you change anything behind it. Again, make sure if the menu display when clicked, the menu hide, and when clicked again, it's shown. So for this, I use the document query selector menu icon link. So when I make sure it clicked here, when I use the click function, I expect that the menu has class name not to contain the menu hidden. This means now the menu is shown on the page and there is nothing hidden. So when I click it again, I expect that the class name has been toggled and the menu hidden is back to its place and the menu is back to be shown. So this is the most main thing for this test. You need to know about the menu test. So if you have any questions or any concern about this part, you can just ask now or here on Slack. I can accept all your questions. Hope to find time to answer all your needs. So now I will consider it as no one has more questions to ask about. I will thank you all for attending my live stream. And goodbye for everybody for now. Hope to see you in the next study jam. Best wishes for you all, and hope you can do the best in the unit testing. Goodbye.